Hey guys, what's up? MR3 here, and welcome back to Let's Play Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Oh gosh, it is this chapter. I could have sworn it was 12. It is chapter 11. Oh man. This one gave me so much trouble when I first played the game. In the last episode, we found some prisoners that were held captive, and we got a couple new recruits in doing so. We have Braum, Nephany, and Kieran, only one of which I'll be using, so place your bets as to which one it will be, or you could just skip ahead in the video. In this episode, we are actually at Crimea's port city, the westernmost port city, so we're actually back in quote-unquote enemy territory in order to get a boat to head to Benyon. And I'll explain why Ranulf has the cloak on very shortly. So, because the area is fairly isolated, Dane's army really hasn't gotten this far. It will get here eventually, but right now it is not. The reason that Ranulf is cloaked, as well as you'll see in a second, Mordecai and Leith are as well, is because, keep in mind, once again, the Laguz and Bjork do not have very, they're at tension with each other, at least in the eyes of the common folk. So the reason they are cloaked is to not attract attention and get into a fight, even if it was not technically their fault. That would be the case as to why. I don't think they actually outright say that, which is kind of strange, but it's pretty heavily implied from the fact that they're just shoving it down your throat that Bjork and Laguz don't generally get along. So, yeah, this is true. Crimea as a country generally has done, you know, pretty well for themselves, hasn't gotten into any huge trouble or anything like that. And then Soren basically just goes on an all-out rampage. It's sad, but it's true. Preach it, man. Preach it. Man, he really is preaching it. I didn't want you to preach that long. There we go. I have no sympathy for him. Yeah, you'll get no sympathy from me. That sounds very similar, doesn't it? Yeah, Soren's like, he's seriously got some bipolar issues going on in this game. Like, the more you watch it, he's just like, he's normal 1 minute, and then he's like really moody the next. And then he's normal, and then he's moody. It's really weird. Yeah, something is definitely bothering him, but at the same time, he is a good tactician, though, since he is the kind of the tactician character, rather than like the old games where you actually had one, or Awakening where you've got your own avatar character, otherwise known as Robin. He's kind of the tactician of this game, sort of. Politics and what have you. Gotta see a man about a ship. Finally, something that's actually important. Who cares about the politics, man? They actually are slightly important, but not too much here. Yeah, that's true. She doesn't want to leave a Laguz wandering around Bjork City. Once again, we already went over this. I already went over this. I usually skip these cutscenes, so I didn't know if they would mention it or not. He's got connections. Basically, the reason that he's not worried is the person that actually owns the ship is a Laguz. That's what they should have said outright. They don't, but that's what they should have said. So here's a summary of the last battle. MVP was Oscar. That's actually kind of surprising. I figured it might be Leith. But okay. Leith, well, I didn't use Mia that much. So yeah, I guess Oscar makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, spent 850, so a lot of that was on picking the locks. Not too much of it, though. No casualties, no one had permanent injury. Very nice. Alright, let's get going. Start with the info. Got 1 3-star in here. I know what that is, too. Yeah, what do the townspeople think of Dan? Flee, don't be absurd. It doesn't really affect us common folk. Yeah, it's kind of sad, but back in the day, that's pretty much true. Like, you might get to see them in an event or whatnot, and you get to see their face, but, you know, it's not like the queen has the ability, or the king, as it may be, has the ability to be best friends with every single person that they're ruling over. What about my low, low prices? I'll save that one for last, because I know it's what it has in there. It's not a character, though, so... Yeah, see, keep in mind, nobody's recognizing her either, so it is kind of a two-way street. And she was also hidden from the public, so that would make even more sense as to why. That would be kind of creepy to, like, you know, see all these corpses and whatnot from a war, and you know, had to leave your own country, you finally got back in, and then you've just got this one town that acts like nothing's happened, which, at this current point in time, really hasn't. So he's trying to put on muscle mass again. I like the fact that his portrait is facing the other way, so it looks like he doesn't even really care. There he is. Also, Ike's not a Lord unit. He's not nobility, he's a mercenary. Technically, he's still a ranger. And don't worry, we still have plenty of chapters to get him to his required level. He only needs like 2 more. You still got a pretty decent amount of chapters. I think it's 16, maybe 17. So you got like 6 or so chapters. You got plenty of time to get him to level 20. Yeah, Brahm's a pretty good guy. I'm not a big fan of him in this game, like, as a unit, but as a guy, he's pretty cool. Like, if you could pick anybody to be your dad, you would totally pick that guy. He's amazing. Nephany, what's up? Sure, I'm sure. Can you fight? Not a problem. Suddenly, yeah, Nephany's very frail starting out. It's really strange, or at least that's been my experience with her. She's, like, super frail. Which is weird because in Radiant Dawn, she is a tank. She's amazing in Radiant Dawn. Alright, lastly, men. Men versus food. I don't know. Hey, what's up, dude? If you're looking for work, I got a proposition for you. Vigilante group keeps our town safe. Strong men like you be most welcome. Why don't you have this? What's this? It's a special sword. It'll come in handy if you ever find yourself at sea. Finish your job, come back and see me. Alright, cool. This is the Lagoo Slayer. You can probably imagine what type of sword this is. I think, yeah, it actually did show up in his inventory. The Lagoo Slayer is obviously designed to do bonus damage against the Lagoos. It's relatively strong, too. It's stronger than the Steel Sword just outright. So if you want to use it on a normal unit that you can't quite knock out, it's a pretty good choice. It definitely does come in handy, and if... I think next chapter, might be the one after that, but it definitely does come in handy. It's not that great for this chapter because there are no Lagoos units, but it'll come in handy later. I'm going to restore the stuff that Volk can't use, and I don't want him to. Let's put that Master Seal away. I'll talk about that shortly. We've probably got somebody relatively close to level 20, don't we? Well, maybe not. Lagoos can't use Bjork-made weapons, so there's no point in that. Point. Boyd, you can toss all your stuff. I might be using Titania for this stage as meat shield. We'll see how things go. It's very up in the air, actually, so yeah, we'll see. And well, the restore staff, but that's C. Yeah, so it's ward. I don't think anybody can get poisoned in this chapter, though, so it's not too big a deal. What do you have in the armor, out of curiosity? Elf Thunder and Elf... Oh, that's tempting. You're killing me. I'm gonna do it. Where's Ileana? I know she's around. There she is. Nah, she's already got 2 thunder. Okay. Shop. Armory. 2 Elf Thunders, and for Soren, 2 Elfires. Yeah, he can't use them yet. Well, is Elfire C? No, it's still D. Okay, I need to get his weapon level up to D then, so he can use Hellfire. I thought he had it by now. I guess he didn't. Okay, that's interesting. I did not know that. Is anybody close to 20? I think the closest we have is Mia. Ike doesn't count. His class change is forced. Yeah, it looks like Mia is. Huh. Okay. Interesting. I did not think that was the case. Supports. Ike, Oscar. Let's do it. What's up, dude? Fight the Lagoos. You just got a Lagoo Slayer! What the heck, dude? Lagoo's birds are weak to 3 things. The Lagoo Slayer type weapons that, like, I just got. They're also weak to bows and arrows, and they're also weak to wind magic. We can take them. We got Soren. If I had to switch him back to wind, I could. We We've got Rolf, he's amazing. And there is a level coming up that's like nothing but bird tribe will use. Rolf will clean house in there. It's amazing. My sword is useless if they take to the sky. Actually, no, you're still able to fight them, even though they can fly. There is no height dimension here. Don't worry about it. I'd follow you anywhere. Aww, isn't that cute? Bromance. No, I don't. I don't ship. Sorry. Even in Awakening, like I pair up who I think's good, but I'm not a shipper. I'm sorry. Well, let's see. 311. I'm debating here. Oh, get me at a sword mat with a strength stat that low? Holy cow. I don't know if I want... I think I'm gonna just do half and half. Dude, really? You gotta stop doing that, man. Now you gotta redeem yourself. Come on. I'm not too worried about Mist's level right now. Later on, when your units can fend for themselves without needing a couple levels between each fight, then it won't be that big a deal. Right now, it kind of is, though. There'll pretty much be a point later on where you're literally just dumping all your bonus experience into Mist. And to be honest, you don't really need her for any part of the game except one that's pretty late game, then you might actually want to have her around. I'll get Soren to 15 because I can right now. Yeah, luck, I guess, why not? Soren is one of the few people that has issues with getting a high luck stat, and while luck is not that important, you need to have probably about 13 to 15 luck at least by the time you're maxed, otherwise you can get critted pretty easily, even by weapons that aren't killer-based or killing-based. Let's just go ahead and do this. Alright, so he needs one more level, and then we don't have to worry about using it. Too experienced to miss, I guess. Skills. Counter! I said I was going to talk about this. In certain instances, causes the enemy to receive half of the damage it deals to the unit. Why is this a problem? Because you have to take damage in order to deal it back, and it does not always activate. So, very, very, very weak skill in my opinion. If you give it to somebody that's going to get hit a lot, that's got a lot of HP, like I guess Boyd it might work decent on, but I think this is a terrible skill. The reason it's annoying in Awakening for enemies that have it is because, as you can tell, generally we have a huge advantage in a fight. So if you're doing something like 30 damage to a unit, they're going to be dealing half that back, you lose 15 health. If you get 4 enemies that attack you and that activates every time and they all have counter, that's 60 damage right there. Your unit's probably dead. So that's why it's obnoxious. I think counter is terrible in this game, and not only am I not going to use it, I'm going to be selling it. You can stick it on a player if you really, really want to, but I honestly don't think it's... Well, it's only 1,000 though. But yeah, even then, I don't think it's really that worth it. Like, in the unit set that I have, Leaf would probably be the best person to give it to. Because right now, she's not going to get hit a lot. Later on, she might get hit here and there, and her defense isn't super high, so it might work for her. So, yeah. I mean, you want to give it to a unit that'll take damage, but at the same time, they have the ability to. They're not frail like Soren or Rolf, but I don't think it's a very good... It's not a good investment. That's all I would say. It's not worth it. Okay. Now, I picked up some units there, and I'm going to talk about the ones that we are not using in this playthrough. I am going to use one of them, and that lucky person of choice is, if you've locked in your answers, Nephany. I'm going to be trying to use Nephany. She's very hit or miss, kind of like Ileana is, but we're going to try. Because when she actually gets good class changes, she is phenomenal. So, let's start with Braum, as soon as I search it. Braum is obviously a knight. He starts out at a pretty decent level right now, but obviously Gautry had, you know, a little bit more in the way of levels, and I think of stats as well, if I could go over his. Looks like it, unfortunately. So, Braum's a very interesting character. He gets compared a lot to Gautry. Obviously, the knight units are very high in defense, particularly. Yeah, superior defense. So they're very good wall units, and if it was Radiant Dawn, I would probably recommend him. I mean, he's pretty good in Radiant Dawn. But let's move on to his stats now that I have them pulled up. HP 75%, Strength 45%, Magic 10%, Skill 50%, Speed 25%, Luck 20%, Defense 55%, and Resistance 25%. He's one of the 3 playable knights and/or generals in this game, besides Gotri and another one that we have not seen for a while. They excel at defense, obviously. He's got pretty high skill as well, and he's got a decently high speed stat. The problem is he suffers in low luck and resistance, which is kind of going to put him at a disadvantage against magic users. He's got pretty decent HP, strength, and defense, but I've had pretty bad luck in the strength department from him. Like, really bad, which is kind of unfortunate, so I generally stay away from him. And I'm not a big fan of units that have low speed, which his is okay. Low speed and also low movement. I like relatively decent movement, so the fact that he only gets 6 movement as a general kind of ruins him for me, which is a real shame. In Radiant Dawn, though, he's actually a very, very good unit. If you've played the sequel to this game, I actually did not know this the first time playing through because I played Radiant Dawn first. Braum does not use axes in this game. He uses lances, not axes. In the sequel to this game, he uses axes, and that threw me off big time last time I played. He is a lance user, not an axe user, which is kind of weird. I was used to him using axes, so when I saw him I was like, wait, that can't be right. I do not believe Braum comes with any skills. No, he does not. Okay. Kieran is an axe knight. We've already seen the knight type units. This one uses axes rather than, you know, Oscar using lances. So, kind of like a pre-promoted Titania in a very strange way. Kieran is a very interesting character to use. Let me go ahead and search his stats. He's been very hit or miss for me. Unfortunately, of the 4 times I've used him, he was more so a miss than a hit, which is kind of a shame. Because he's really funny, if nothing else. Like, his personality is really funny, at least. He's the quote-unquote rival to Oscar, as we've already seen. His stats are as follows. Whoa, where are you going? I was trying to... There we go. HP 60%, Strength 50%, Magic 15%, Skill 50%, Speed 40%, Luck 25%, Defense 40%, and Resistance 30%. So, kind of well-rounded. He joins relatively late, at least, you know, like, in the way of being an Axe Knight level 12. He can be pretty decent. If you give him swords or lances once he's promoted, both of those can kind of come in handy. He has a very good chance of capping his strength and a little bit decent chance of capping skill. Unfortunately, his other stats generally don't do very well. The issue I have with him is speed and defense. Neither one of those are very high, and I would like for my knights to have either one or the other. Oscar's got pretty good defense and speed. Kieran doesn't really seem to do well in either. His strength will cap, but aside from that, I usually don't have that much luck with him. If you want to really have him be usable, there are other skills that you can give him. He comes with Gamble, which is terrible. Gamble has a chance, you can use it whenever you have, like, attack. It will show up on the options you have. It has a chance to, it has the unit's chance to hit, but it doubles the chance to land a critical. Once again, I think this is a terrible skill. He would be much better off with a skill like Savior, where if you're carrying a Traveler, you don't get the speed and skill penalties. Or Provoke, which will provoke enemies into attacking this unit first. Resolve, which will increase a lot of his stats whenever he is below, I believe, 25% of his health, which isn't that great, but the resolve ability can be very useful. But yeah, Gamble, no, don't use Gamble. Not only on Kieran, don't use it on any of your units. Gamble is terrible. I don't know why somebody thought it was a good idea. In fact, I don't even think Gamble shows up in this sequel. If it does, Magloff probably has it. But I personally don't like it, and I would not recommend it. Kieran, like I said, Kieran can do well. His biorhythm's kind of all over the board, which is really funny. His goes like way up and down, whereas a lot of characters, while it looks like they're the same, his bounces around a lot more. He goes from best to worst very quickly, which is kind of strange. But Kieran's not a unit I'm a huge fan of using. He can do well, but of all the times I've seen him, because I have used all 3 of these units, Braum, Kieran, and Nephany, I've had the most success with Nephany. Braum generally didn't turn out that great, aside from defense. Kieran didn't turn out that great, aside from offense. In fact, quite often he had the same issue Boyd did. He can hit pretty well. He can hit better than Boyd, but his defense isn't that much higher than Boyd's. He is better than Boyd, but not by much. Better movement, a little bit better strength, and a little bit better defense, but not much. But when it comes to using Nephany, she can actually do pretty well from what I've seen. So let's go ahead and start getting her some items, starting with a Vulnerary. Give her the Soldier Band, because that's who it's for. The Knight Band can obviously go to can go to Braum right here if you prefer. And you can always switch off the Paladin Band to Kieran if you wanted to. Okay, switch over to Lances. Kieran uses axes, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. I'm actually going to forge her weapon, so I'm going to give her Javelin, a Slim Lance, the Iron Lance that's not as weak, and then forge a weapon for her. Because we got plenty of money right now, so let's forge. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do Iron. Crank that out, crank that out. Shouldn't really need the crit, but we'll do it anyway. Yeah, there we go. Pretty good lance, only took about a third of the money I had. No, I don't want to change the weapon name, we'll give it to her. There we go. That should be a pretty good one, and we'll equip the Soldier Band for her. Okay, let's have a look. From 7 and 80 to 12 and 105. Okay, yeah, that's pretty decent. So, in case her strength stat can't quite cut it early on, we can use that. Okay, Ike looks fine, Mist looks fine. I'm not going to go to the store. Volk I will not be using because there's no chests in this level. Definitely looks good. Rolf looks good. Braum I'm not using. Kieran I'm not using. Mia looks alright. The Armor Slayer's about to break, but aside from that it's alright. Soren looks alright. Hopefully he'll get the L-Fire ability relatively soon. Oscar looks okay. The Iron Lance is kind of close to breaking, but what are you going to do? She looks alright. Ileana, Leaf looks fine. Titania, if I use it, looks fine. Anybody else we're not using? Support say. Okay, looks like we're good. You can see now why I had the option to skip, because that took a while, so. We should be leaving, but it looks like it's going to be a while yet. Yeah, Ranulf is... I don't even know where he is right now. Seen hide nor hair of him. A sword, that's it. If I've got my cape, I can sleep just about... Oh my gosh, what is wrong with this guy? Something always turns up. Yeah, because you'll eat anything. I don't think I'll... Really? I don't think I'll ever understand you, Ike. You're weird. Hi. Ah. No one comes or goes without our lead. The harbor is also closed, and our ships will be allowed to sail. Perfect. Yes, we were closer to the conversation than you were. How do you think we wouldn't be able to hear it? My gosh. Ranulf, yeah, who knows where he is. Oh, there he is. Hi. Everything's set. All you gotta do is sneak down to the harbor. Sweet. So we have to meet a man named Nasir. If you reach his ship safely, he'll take care of everything and deliver you to Benyon. Sweet. Dane's movements have me concerned. I'll stay behind and see what's going on. Bump. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't watching where I was going. No, pardon me. Ah! And then she freaks out. Blast! How dare you come prowling around here? What? What do you have Smite? That wasn't shove, that was Smite. That moved him back 2 spaces, not 1. That was Smite. I'm surprised that guy had it. That guy had it too? What the heck? Okay, yeah, she had a simple shove command. And now he has a shove command. Though I think you can alternate between the two. Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, Ranulf can handle himself, I wouldn't worry. He's getting shoved, not murdered. Shove doesn't do damage to you. Whoa, look at that guy. It's a very chiseled chin you have there, sir. I like how they were standing there not paying attention to anything that's going on, either. Your king was murdered, now you're cooperating with him? Well, why not? That is not what got him killed at all. Nice try. Now get the vigilantes that showed up. The Toha vigilantes. Yeah, these guys are jokes. Wait till you see their stats. Yep, that's true. I don't care what anyone else says, I think you're pretty bright. Yeah, everyone else says he's an idiot, including me. Though he is right about this. Let's do it. This is a very precarious map. Like, this is the first map, in all honesty, that you could seriously find yourself in trouble on. With any units, mind you. You have to be very careful on this map. Alright, let's try that again once more with feeling. This is the first time that I can say I officially died, though it was for a really, really stupid reason. Basically, I got about 2/3 of the way done with the map, and I had moved most of my units with the exception of Ileana and I think Oscar. And somebody interrupted my recording, big surprise there. And so I had to go end up fix something. I come back a couple minutes later thinking, alright, I'll just edit the little gap out. And I forgot that I still had 2 units to move, and so I just ended my turn like a moron, and then Ileana promptly got killed. So, once more, at least this is a difficult chapter. Once more, we'll give this another shot. The units that I'm picking for this chapter, you actually get 13 to choose from, so pretty high amount. I would recommend filling this up as much as you can. I'll be using Ike because I'm forced to. In addition to that, we'll have Mist, Rolf, Nephany, Mia, Soren, Leith, Ileana, Oscar, and I'm also going to bring in Titania as well as a meat shield. If you want, you could also bring in Braum or Kieran for meat shields if you want. Keep in mind, though, that Braum doesn't have the best movement in the world, so Kieran or Titania is probably your best bet. Mordecai would also work pretty well. Just keep in mind that he will counterattack if he's transformed, so that's something to make note of. Also, Volk, though you did get him last chapter, you will not need him. There is no chest to be unlocked, there's no doors to be unlocked. There are items you can pick up through houses, but you do not need Volk in order to get them. So, in addition to that, starting out, if you go to the conversation area, you'll notice that there is a character we can recruit, Zahark. You can either talk to him with Leith or Mordecai. It is up to you. Obviously, I'll be using Leith, but it has to be one of those 2 units. So, in repositioning, what I would do, since Zahark is over here, he will automatically talk to Leith or Mordecai if they are within range. So, I would recommend sending Leith up this right side, where the Vigilantes are. They're only level 2 Myrmidons, and you can tell by their stats that they're going to get utterly destroyed, having no more than 20 HP. You've got a couple of guys that are a bit stronger over here, but really they're not that much of a threat, hardly at all. So you can send Leith up this side by herself, and she'll be perfectly fine. I am going to actually start her out by killing one of these 2 guys, and Ike will get one of them, and then we can clear out the 3rd one with whoever's left. This is a very difficult map, just fair warning, but I would recommend getting these 3 guys out first, making sure that there's somebody that can take care of these guys over here. There is a thief that will show up and try to steal, stuff from the houses, so there's a house here that you can get something from, one here, and one here. This has a Killer Lance, in case you want to know in advance. Killer Lance is right there. There's an Elwyn spell here. And lastly, and most importantly, there's a Draco Shield in this house right here. So this is the one I would recommend that you get to first. In addition to that, you've also got a pretty decent bunch of enemies right here. A couple of Lance Knights, technically Lance Knights. And then you've got Knights. It always bothers me calling them that, but armored. There's another armor unit right there, some archers. Your boss is up here. He does move, so watch out for that. And before we get started, the last and most important thing is do not go near this house at all. Once you kill the boss, you're going to have your friend the Black Knight spawn right here. He's going to come out through this doorway. So do not put anybody within range of him, because if they get into a fight with him, they're going to die very, very quickly. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to move Titania down to this spot. And let's go ahead and jump right in. Listen to me, do not, oh. I thought he was talking to Nasir there for a second. That was really weird. Yeah, let the Vigilantes do what they want. They're free experience, and they're really weak, so. So this is the guy that we need to reach, Nasir. And while he needs to leave, it is not, they currently are not allowed to do so. Even though he is of the Benyon Empire, not of Crimea, they really don't care. Now that space that the Knight's standing on, that blue flashing one, that is the Arrive space. I don't believe we've seen Arrive as a condition yet. It is basically the same condition as C's. The only difference is anybody can arrive. It does not have to be Ike. So, as long as somebody gets to that spot and hits arrive, then the level's over. That's how it works. Where's our special guest? Our favorite pal right here. The Black Knight. Yes, the reason that they're here is because a few Crimean prisoners of war were freed, obviously by us. And the trail led here. Yeah, if the Black Knight was to enter the fray, it would be over immediately. And I mean immediately. You cannot damage this guy. Even if Oscar was level 20 Paladin, you wouldn't be able to damage the Black Knight. So don't even bother trying. It's not possible. And Cyrano runs off and makes these guys chase after him. Because he likes messing with them. Alright, here we go. Try to avoid conflict with the local vigilante group. You don't get any award for ignoring him. You might as well go after him. Alright, so here we go. First turn, what I would recommend doing is the vigilante guys will only attack you whenever you get within range, and even though they're not a threat, I would go ahead and take out the soldiers over here first. Because the vigilantes are not a threat whatsoever. You can take them out pretty much whenever you want. The soldiers, if they get behind you, can actually mess with you a little bit, so I'd recommend knocking them out first. Hopefully your Ike is strong enough to knock out one by himself. If not, then you're going to have some support. Titania can also get rid of one of these guys with the Steel Axe. So the first order of business on your first turn is to knock those three guys out. There's counter for you, since she's automatically got counter from the start. We're up here. Continue on my adventure. Now, as for this path, it's going to take the thief at least one turn to get to either of the houses, depending on which he goes to, or it's going to take him at least 2 turns. So, if that is the case, it looks like our best course of action would be to start by trying to knock out at least this Myrmidon here. Yeah, nice. I was not expecting a critical. That actually helped quite a bit. Well done, Nephany. Now, since we're actually using her for this chapter, and I did not go over her stats prior, let's go ahead and start now. So she starts out as a level 7 soldier, kind of balanced stats, that's what soldiers are known for. She's got a little bit higher skill and speed than anything else, but overall she's a pretty well-rounded unit. Her growth rates are HP 55%, Strength 40%, Magic 20%, Skill and Speed 55%, Luck 25%, Defense 35%, and Resistance 25%. So, early on she's a little bit frail, and she is the only playable unit. She's got pretty solid growths and everything except for Luck, which, you know, who really cares? Probably won't cap her strength, but she will almost always cap her skill and speed. But she is still very capable of doing really well. I would recommend forging a weapon for her early on, just so she can get the kills that she needs. But once she gets up a few levels, she will be able to hold her own. Keep in mind, though, since she is frail, she can take 1, maybe 2 hits, but any more than that and she is going to die. So you have to be pretty careful with her early on. Once her speed gets up, she'll be able to dodge a pretty decent amount of attacks, and then it won't be as big of an issue. Steel Sword, and let's go and visit this spot. And we will gladly take that Draco Shield.